Mountbatten pink, also called Plymouth pink, is a naval camouflage color resembling greyish mauve. It was first used by Lord Mountbatten of the British Royal Navy during World War II. After noticing a Union Castle Line ship with a similar camouflage color disappearing from sight, he applied the color to his own ships, believing the color would render his ships difficult to see during dawn and dusk. While the color was met with anecdotal success, it was judged by experts to be equivalent to neutral grays at best and would make ships with the color more obvious at worst. History. In 1940, while escorting a convoy, Lord Mountbatten noted that one ship in the group vanished from view much earlier than the remainder. The ship, a Union Castle liner, was painted lavender mauve grey. Mountbatten thus became convinced of the color's effectiveness as a camouflage during dawn and dusk, are often dangerous times for ships, and had all of the destroyers of his flotilla painted with a similar pigment, which he created by mixing a medium grey with a small amount of Venetian red. By early 1941, several other ships began using the same camouflage, though no formal testing was done to determine how well it worked. A later refinement of the basic Mountbatten pink camouflage was the use of a slightly lighter tone of the same color for the upper structures of the ship. By the end of 1942, however, all vessels of destroyer size and larger had dispensed with Mountbatten pink, although it is believed that smaller vessels retained this color until well into 1944. The primary problem with Mountbatten pink was that it stood out around midday, when the sky was no longer pink, and a traditional battleship grey was much less visible. The U.S. Navy had experimented with a similar shade of paint as well, and at least one ship, the US Winslow, received such a paint job. The Kriegsmarine likewise experimented with a light pink shade. The Royal Navy prisoner interrogation report of crew rescued from S-147, a Schnell boat sunk in the English Channel in April 1944, states they believed the boat's overall pink shade was effective. Usefulness. One of the anecdotal and possibly apocryphal tales told in support of Mountbatten pink was the story of the cruiser HMS Kenya, which during Operation Dart recovered a commando raid against installations on Vegasay Island off the Norwegian coast. The Germans fired on the Kenya for several minutes with coastal guns, but she sustained only minor damage from near misses. This was attributed to her Mountbatten pink camouflage blending in with the pink market dye the Germans were using in the shells, preventing German spotters from distinguishing between shell splashes and the ship. Stories like this, and personal experience of ships with the color disappearing from view, made crews of ships with the color notable supporters. Camouflage experts have noted that the color may make ships more obvious as a result of the Perkiner effect. These experts also often complained about uncontrolled mixing, which could result in mixtures containing more red than intended. Such a mixture could be disastrous, as ships with even the slightest red tone attracted more attention than those with an equivalent tone of blue in almost every light level. An Admiralty handbook concluded that the paint was neither more nor less effective in seagoing camouflage than neutral grays of equivalent tone, and, further, that if the red content were high enough for the particular characteristics of red to have any effect, the color would generally hinder rather than aid concealment.